All right. So this is just kind of like a quick tutorial on the shield bubble mechanic. Um, once this loads, I don't really know. Oh, it's because I built the game. Um, so okay. So these shields here, if I go to the script graph for them, it's like super simple. Um, basically, this node here in the middle, uh, it just like it tells uh, an object to ignore another entire layer when detecting collision. So to do this, and maybe if I was a professional coder, I might put them in the graph thing, but I didn't. I put them in the object thing. Um, all of this is just ground layer is 3. So if we go over here, it's calling the ground layer. Um, so then if I hit play on this, you'll see that these bubbles fall to the ground. I've set this up in a funny way that box bounces off of that and lands inside of this other one. Um, if I grab my player, mm, and I bring him over here, um, like I can walk into this one, although this one I push. And the reason for that is because I have rigid body on this cube, uh, just for like another test. So you'll see this can go in here. I can't. Um, this box can't go inside of this, but I can. Um, so that's like how it actually functions when in game. Like obviously, you turn off rigid body. You could make this an example of where I also use this for my actual level is one of the playtesters yesterday was able to get inside of my vending machine, or well, it's not really a vending machine, but they were able to get inside of this, right? And then they would bring the ball in after them, and they would block it, and um, it kind of needs to be sized to this size just for gameplay. But by putting like a barrier with that same code, actually I can just run it really quickly and just show you kind of how that works. Um, so when we start my level, you kind of come down here, um, and so when you try and go inside of this barrier, it doesn't let you, although you can easily put the ball inside there. That closes, this opens up, super cool level, everybody loves it. Um, but yeah, so that's how that functions. I'm not exactly sure why it's not, or why it's saying, okay, that's strange. Um, because I mean, there's no errors. It's just kind of red for no reason. Yeah, so the, if you look at both of these, sorry, it's just like on update, I think you could use on start. I wasn't 100% sure what this was really used for. Um, but I am kind of going into something that does need an on update anyways. But I believe that this at the start of, like, it's a one-time node, like it doesn't need to be constantly called to. I think that that would probably be really janky and probably pretty useless. But I think you can go on start into this and change these things. Um, you could also do like on trigger enter and then change something, right? Or on button press, and then change this. And there's a Boolean. So if you added like graph thing, and you were like on player jump kind of thing. Is grounded true? Then whatever. Like unlimited possibilities for being able to change this. Although apparently, if you go, uh, there was. I'm not going to cover that because I actually don't know how to do it. Isaac was telling me that there was another way that you could like set a layer. So yeah, he has one in here called no player. I didn't know about that when I was creating this. This is one more so that you can like alter at any point. Like you can have these to create more modular things. The only thing that I would say to be careful about when giving this kind of stuff to other people is that they might make a sci-fi game if you teach them this. But yeah, so um, the way that this I should probably mention works so that I can have one for anti-player and one for anti-object is that the anti-player one or well I guess I'll start with anti-object. The anti-object layer, which is tagged, um, goes into this one. So then this is, however, I will add an oh, I'll add actually just for the sake of showing this. Actually, I'll do it in play mode because then I can kind of show a way to intersect even these two bubbles, and I think it will be a good tutorial for that. Um, so now that it's going to stop moving, if I try and I gotta use the base because it's attached to this base, so it won't move on its own. If I try and push that into that, it won't like let me do that. So if I add another version of this, and since it's on update, uh, it like will immediately update instead of just me needing to go back into play mode. I can do an anti-object and an anti-player and plug these in, and then now they can intersect. And so this doesn't need to be changed on both scripts because I believe that this script can be set up like on anything because it's um, commanding the layers like on scene load up to do this. Um, yep, that's not going to work because there's no box collider on that thing. Yeah, so you kind of push these, you know, to some pretty crazy extents like that. And if you care, I'll just quickly go over how this shader works as well. So this screen position node, as you can see, it goes into a Fresnel effect, right? So if I go to the bubbles, it's actually like pretty hard to tell right now, but if I increase or decrease this, you can see like if I set it to this, like uh, I think it's easier when they're on the ground. They're not so bright. So you can see like in this area, whether I increase or decrease this, it's kind of like allowing for wherever the camera is to have more transparency to it. Um, so we're kind of going like from screen position, and that's a raw input, pretty important. Um, and then this offset thing for that is also for intersections. So as you can see, like the base of it is like changing, but if I pull this out, So, for example, like Reinhardt shield from Overwatch. Yeah, think Reinhardt from Overwatch. Anytime that this intersects with something, it creates kind of an effect. I think if you think like the storm from Fortnite would have this kind of effect as well. So you kind of have the shader which like intersects other things, and so then yeah, and so that to get that effect specifically with the intersection, it needs a scene depth from I, um, and you're subtracting those two and then inverting because if you don't invert it, the way that it works is that basically the exact opposite will happen, and the color will kind of come from the in between, and the uh, transparency will be when it gets close to another object, which, I mean, in its own way, can be useful in some cases. Although if you're trying to create like a shield that like kind of has this look, you'll need to do that. The only thing is that this next node is um, is a smooth step, so it blends the effect a little bit, and it needs and it also functions as a clamp. So between 1 and 0, this is important because anything with transparency, like going above and below any value of 1, so like you see like it needs to stop and it does stop after 1. And like so the reason for a clamp being there is because uh, alphas don't like to be in a value that is greater or less than 1 and 0, right? Um, so yeah, then you kind of adjust the Fresnel effect to your liking. Um, the scrolling effect, which I know you already know how to do, so it's just a time multiplied by a property that then goes in the offset of the tiling offset thing, and then setting a tiling node so that you can choose the amount of tiling. I created a custom uh, design. I like to use Substance Painter for creating tilables. So honestly, this looks pretty cool. I might actually keep it like that, to be honest. I kind of like to be able to see the design that I created. Um, but yeah, so multiplying that, and then just for like, there's not even a color on this. By the way, it's just, I don't think that this does anything because it's just a, uh, alpha and emissive that kind of are the only two that are doing anything. Um, which is nice as well because like you don't have to customize like a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't really run off of any maps or anything like that, besides for like if you decide that you want to have a custom kind of texture. um, if you care to teach it, like I could send you like some basic masks and like things. Oh, sorry. Actually, speaking of this thing, there's actually one really important thing. In the renderer, I think it doesn't really matter which renderer you're using, but you need to come to your renderer and check on depth texture. I'm really glad that I remember to mention that because yeah, no, without that you're not going to be able to get the intersection effect to work. So you kind of need to remember to check that on. But yeah, so that's kind of everything. Including like a use case for it, and just gonna yeah. I moved the object without its parent, but that's okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. Thanks for watching.